Mazi Sam Ohuabunwa. Welcome to Top Talk.
Thank you so much.
All right, I'll always like to start in simple so people can get an idea of who you are. Why do you want to be president?
Well, I want to be president because Nigeria has problems, very serious, dire problems that require solution. And I believe I have the vision, I have the competence, I have the character, I have the courage to solve those problems. I have waited that somebody will solve them. But rather than see any substantial improvement, our country is going down. Poverty is growing. Insecurity is growing. Injustice is growing. Corruption is growing. Misery of Nigeria is growing. Loss of international respect and recognition is growing. Loss of global competitiveness is growing. And young men can't get jobs to do. It's difficult to travel around the country. Guys, one cannot sit back and do what I used to do, pontificate, advocate, solicit, beg, cry, weep. I think I have the solution, and I better not be miserable or miserly with the talents that I have and the exposure and the opportunity that I have to contribute to solving Nigeria's problem. That's why.
All right, now as a follow-up to that, still on getting to know you, what has prepared you for this role? What in your past would you say has made you ready?
What has made me ready is that if you look at the critical problem in Nigeria today, Nigeria has two main problems. One is poverty. The other one is social disharmony. The country is disunited. There is poverty, and part of the consequences of the poverty or contributory factor to the poverty is joblessness, no job. I have been trained in the art of wealth creation, job creation. Haven't been CEO of a multinational company, haven't been involved in founding many companies and many businesses in the country. I've been in the business of wealth creation, in the business of job creation. I was chairman of Manufacturers Association of Nigeria. I was president of Pharmaceutical Manufacturers Group of MAN, president of Pharmaceutical Manufacturers Group of West Africa, chairman of Nigeria Economic Summit Group, also president of Nigeria Employers Consultative Association. Our job was how to get Nigerian businesses better able to employ more people. So that's the business, that's the training. So I'm able to bring that discipline, that talent of how to create an enabling environment that will attract investments, and investments will produce businesses and programs and projects. Businesses, programs, and projects will create jobs. Jobs will create wealth. Wealth will drive away poverty. So my principal preparation is in the area of wealth creation, job creation. Secondly, it's in the area of uniting our country. I have led many multi-ethnic groups. I have been involved in many cross-cutting programs and projects. I was involved in National Political Reform Conference. I was involved in Fashioning Vision 2010-2020. I have related and served in different functions that brought me to understand Nigeria. I've traveled around this country many times before, but in this recent political pursuit, I've been around Nigeria twice to 36 states. So I understand their problems, I know what their roles look like, I feel what they feel, and I know that what all Nigerians want are justice, equity, and fair play. And anybody who has fear of God, who loves fellow human being, who wants unity, would like to treat Nigerians fairly, no matter where they come from, no matter what their ethnic nationality, no matter what their religious bias is, no matter what their demography, sexual orientation, we must treat them first as children of God, as equal citizens. I have come from that background. I come from a large family, and I'm the head of that family. And everybody in that family, even though we come from different mothers, feel and part of bona fide member of the family. They don't see any discrimination. They don't see any malalignment. So what you do in macrocosms, you can bring them in macrocosms so that we can make our country a united nation which can give us joy and pride and build the patriotism in us.
Yeah, that's very fair. And you've already mentioned your core focus, which is wealth creation.
Yeah.
But before we get to that, I feel there is something very important that I don't see a lot of candidates speak on. And it's the elephant in the room, and it's insecurity. And you know, people tend to give broad answers, but I want to know specifically, what would you do to solve this very humongous problem that seems to be growing worse every day?
Well, I speak about insecurity so very often. I don't know how many times I've spoken about it even today. My proposal is that as a healthcare professional, the way I like to treat problems is to go to the foundation. Before we give you medicines, we need to know what is causing your headache, what's causing your pain. We can give you an analgesic just to keep you calm, but we'll dig deep to find out so that we can remove that thing so that your pain will stop permanently. Nigeria's insecurity has cause. And when people are treating symptoms, you can't cure it. You stamp up one terrorism on this side, the bandits start on the other side. Now that bandits, the kidnappers start on the other side. We need to know what is the cause of insecurity. Nigeria's insecurity is caused by following factors. First is poverty and lack of economic opportunities. That's the principle: poverty and joblessness. Because you are busy. This man is busy, I am busy, doing work. It's not going to be easy for us to be found on Abuja Kaduna Highway, waiting for train. It's not going to be easy. So if we can get as many Nigerians having opportunities for economic expression, we will have started dealing with poverty, with insecurity. Secondly, is injustice. Many people take it against the community. They take it against the nation, the state. When they feel they've been injured, they've been maltreated, nobody is listening to them, they are being trodden upon. When it's their turn, things change. When it's their time to do something, the law is changed. There are many parts of this country where people are feeling that they are mistreated. That mistreatment may not be government. It may just be government institution. It may just be individuals. It may just be community. It may just be leaders of the community, act of omission or commission. And their reasons may not be justified, but their reasons are the same. If you are angry and you are causing trouble, it is not important for me whether your anger is justified or not. I want you to stop causing trouble. So first thing I need to do is to listen to you. So we must listen to everybody. Today, there are some kidnappers they have arrested. There are some bandits, there are some terrorists. Have we found out why they even went into terrorism? Why they are bandits? They'll tell you. You begin to get reason. Or is that why people are doing this? Or is that why people are doing this? So I'm going to do this, and I'm going to focus on 3 places. I'll focus on the communities of Nigeria, but more importantly, the areas that are flashpoints. I'm going to get the leaders, the traditional rulers, the spiritual leaders, religious leaders, the youth leaders, the women leaders. We sit together and say, what's our problem? How did we get here? Who offended us? Whom did you offend? Did you offend our God, or did you offend somebody? What is our problem? This is not the way our community used to be. In that communication, you mine a lot of information. Because they say I'm robber, not be spirit. Every bandit has a relation. Every terrorist has a sympathizer. But you need to win their confidence. And that's by coming down to their level. Our leaders are too arrogant. They are distant. They're in Abuja. And they can't even fly to Zamfara. Not talk of driving to Zamfara. How would they know what's the problem of the Plus Zamfara? You're treating people, you do not know exactly what the illness is. You just wave medicines at them. So I'm going to commune with the people. I'm also going to commune with the military security leaders, past and present. The same way I'm going to commune with the community, I'll commune with them and say, how come? When did you lose it? When did our security become yo-yo security? When did it become a banana republic? Is it with our leadership? Is it with our training? Is it with our armor? Is it with welfare? Is it with psychology? What is it? By the time we sit down a couple of days, lock ourselves in a room, we'll come out with good information. That is where the solution begins. If we do not do this, we can bring all the armor in the world. You'll be missing the point. Go and talk to the citizens, to the community, and to the military people, and get information. When we get that information, they can begin to work. For example, I'm going to spend a lot more money on intelligence, because I believe with the proper intelligence, both physical intelligence and technological-driven intelligence. Today, with satellite technology, wherever you are located on this face of this earth, people can find you. You can throw probes to anywhere and hear what you're speaking. So if we have the right intelligence, we can preempt these guys. And of course, I spoke about, first of all, knowing what the issues are, so that if it is things that we can deal with. For example, take the IPOB people. Nobody's listening to IPOB. Nobody's asking them, what's your problem? Each time we hear about them, what we think is go kill them, go destroy them. After destroying them, they still resurrect and cause more harm. So I don't support any evil. I don't support crime. But my teaching is that even in my local palace, they say even the madman has a reason. When you see a madman in a hurry, you don't ask him why is he in a hurry. You can tell the reason is hurry, that where he's going is far. Then on the way, he will stop at several marketplaces to do some dancing. So madman even has reason. So that is another method. The other thing we'll do is to then rejig our security apparatus. Put the right peg in the right holes. Retrain them, rejig them, re-equip them, re-empower them, re-motivate them, and put them on insurance. Give them assurance that if anything goes wrong with them, they have a government that will take care of their words and their dependents. These are the sort of things we're going to do. So intelligence, and the last one is, of course, to apply more technology in armor deployment. Because I can sit here in a console and send a message to a terrorist without he seeing any single soldier. By a well-armed, armored drone can deliver a message to a terrorist or a bandit. First of all, you use technology to discover where they are through probes and satellite. Then you send armored drone. So whether there's a saboteur soldier or no saboteur soldier, the armor will deliver. And you take them out. When you take out a number of disciplines, take out this one today, when you take out another one today, they will run. The reason why they are proliferating is that there's no consequence for what they're doing. In fact, the consequence is positive. They kidnap, police and army will join in negotiating, they collect money, they go to the next kidnap, and we're fueling it.
So I just want to take you back to the beginning of your solution. How would you respond to perhaps victims, people who have reached the level where they don't want to hear anything about dialogue, they just want justice, they want punishment? And also from
punishment with who?
To the persons who have done them. Take for instance, the current administration has had this policy of forgiving terrorists and then bringing them back into the society. And then we've seen stories where these same terrorists Now, yes, and then they help their counterparts invade and all that. So how do you
The point I'm
combine
saying,
that?
I'm not talking about forgiving terrorists. I'm saying I need to know what is causing terrorism. And then if I know, I deal with it. It's not one person. It's not dealing with one person. It's dealing, what are they called? Ansarudin or the Boko Haram people.
Yes.
Do they have leadership? I'm not talking about those you capture or those who surrender. We'll get to the people who are fueling them and find out their reason. It doesn't mean that we're going to accept their reason. But if I want to deal with you, you first know what's your problem. If your problem is that you are hungry, I say, okay, I'll give you food. Would that make you happy? If your problem is that you don't have work, I say, okay, I'm going to find you work. Would that make you happy? But if your problem is that what you want is to change Nigeria's culture, change Nigeria's system, book is not good, that's all. You want to establish a caliphate, then there's no point of negotiation. And I know you are a hardcore, I now know what your issue is. So when I'm dealing with you, I deal with you. Are you getting my point? So the first not assume that I know what your issue is. I need to find, first of all, because I regard you as a citizen of Nigeria. I regard you as you just gone rogue. Something has put you. Now, that I'm going to deal with you and solve your problem does not mean that all we're going to do is to just say forgive what they have done. No. It's to prevent a continuation of that. If something is biting you on the leg and we do not stop what is biting you, after biting you, bite the next person, bite the next person. So that's what I'm speaking about. Those who have committed crime will face consequences of their crime. They will. They will. Before you even grant amnesty, amnesty is granted after condemnation. You are judged, you start serving punishment. Then we can do amnesty. Not amnesty on a platter of gold. That is also an encouragement to other people. Let's go and do it, then we'll get amnesty. No, you must. My major reason of talking to is to find the main reason, so I can avert it. After dealing with you, another group, because if I do not know it, I deal with you, another group is created. As long as that demand or that problem still exists.
Thanks for that clarification. Now let's move over to the main focus of your campaign. You've said what you want to do. Now tell us how you hope to achieve it.
First is because the economy is the primary thing. My focus will be attracting investment into the country or growing local investments. I have today a good example of local investors who are doing well. You can mention Adenoga, you can mention Dangote, you can mention Tole Lumele, a couple of, you can mention Boa, Rabiu, Ahmad Rabiu, and so forth and so on. If you go down the east, the west, you see people, about Tudeko, there are a couple of people who have done well. We will see how we can replicate that in the country. And how do we do it? Is by coming to you, we see you're doing a fledgling business. And the business is showing promise. Government will come to you and say, Mr. Amadin, you can see that you're building this plant, you're employing 100 people, what can we do for you to make you employ 200 people in the next 1 year? What can we do for you to make you double your turnover in another 1 year or 2 years? You tell us, do this for me, do this for me, do this for me. We go and look at what we can do and what we cannot do. We come and do, we sign off. Okay, we'll do what you ask. By next year, you have employed 100 more people. Part of it will be help us to get more money. The government, if it sees promise in what you're doing, can take a stake or give you a guarantee that will enable lenders or investors to invest in your business, because sovereign guarantees are available at no cost to government. If I go to take bank guarantee, I'm paying any interest. The government gives the sovereign guarantee no immediate cost. It's like say, if you do not pay, we'll pay. But when I take that guarantee, I will make sure I put somebody in your business so that he will be sure that you are doing the right things, so that Nigeria will recover its money without paying any liability. So government will actively support the development of the private sector, because the private sector that will create the businesses, create the jobs, and create the wealth. So that's the primary thing. So I'm going to make Nigeria an investment-friendly nation. And to make Nigeria an investment-friendly nation, 3 things must be done. First is what we were speaking about earlier on, the issue of safety of lives and property. You must guarantee that is primary. Then 2, you try and create a stable policy environment where policies are ordered, developed in an orderly manner, and they do not flip-flop. They do not change every day. Create stability. Thirdly, create incentives for investors. Instead of taking your money to Ghana, come to Nigeria. When you come to Nigeria, I guarantee you A, B, C, D. If you're Nigerian, don't take your money to Saudi Arabia. Don't take your money to Jerusalem. Don't take your money to put it in the country. We can guarantee you A, B, C, A, E, F, G. Government will be actively negotiating with private people and attracting more. When private investors come into Nigeria, we wait for them at the airport with limousines and red carpets. We'll house them and make them feel good about our country. We'll present the best of ourselves so that they can also feel good to invest. So my primary job is investment promotion. And to get investment promotion, I'll be forced to deal with security. I'll be forced to deal with policy framework. And I'll be forced to develop an incentive scheme that is superior to any other country. The reason an American will go to Nigeria instead of going to Ghana is that he returns in Nigeria better. Safety is better. Policy framework is okay. The environment is good. He can drink his, go to Lagos Country Club and drink Star beer. You know, he can move around the country, go to Yankari Game Reserve, go to Battle Ranch, a big country with a large space. Those are part of his attraction. That to go to a small country in 30 minutes, he has gone from one end to another. There's no tourist attraction. These are the things that will be integrated to ensure that our country becomes a productive center. We're going to be a workhouse. Work is going on. I don't know where you're going to a construction site where everybody's at work. That's the way we want to make Nigeria, because our dream, our vision is to make Nigeria a first world nation. First world nation can only happen by high growth rates over a couple of years. Then you leapfrog. Your GDP will grow, your productivity will grow, your GDP per income will grow, your purchasing power will grow, and then with that will grow well-being, civil well-being, human well-being, because that's the essence of government. The essence of government is to ensure that the human being in that climate continues to have an improvement in his well-being. His well-being last year should not be better than today. But in Nigeria, it's the reverse. Our misery index is increasing. Poverty is increasing. Everything else is going wrong. That's not the way it should go. We'll reverse it. And the reversal is bake a big cake. Just focus on baking big cakes. And we'll have the opportunity. Our agricultural potential have not been tapped. Our solid minerals have not been tapped. Our liquid minerals have not been tapped. Our gaseous minerals have not been tapped. Human capital has not been tapped. So it is humongous, the kind of opportunity we have to create the wealth.
All right, that's very fair. Now, you seem to favor or you seem to believe in the private sector and what they can do a lot.
Yeah.
So I want to bring a particular issue and how you might address it or tackle it.
Yeah.
And that's the issue of power supply.
Yeah.
You know, there was a lot of clamor beforehand that it needs to be privatized, and the issue is because it has the government. And even after that happened, things are still not as great as we want. Now, how do you hope to handle that? And I'll add, I'll combine it with another question, two in one question. Now, also, all these things you hope to achieve, you are going into a system that a lot of people believe is massively corrupt. You mentioned one of the magnets in Nigeria Tony Elumelu.
Yeah.
Just some months ago, we saw him complaining that
Oh, he
only about 3%
5%.
or 5% of what should be got is what is available. So how do you hope to wade through the corruption
Those
and achieve these
things are
things?
very easy to deal with.
Mm.
They are generally easy to deal with. What is required is sincerity of purpose, presence of mind, understanding of how to dimension the problems, and ability to enforce the laws of our country. The country has laws, has what it has determined that should be done. And therefore, if you do not implement the laws, people will take advantage. Do you have police? Do you have army? Do you have civil defense? Do you have navy? Do you have air force? What's their business? If you're the Air Force commander, I tell you what I expect. If you're the naval commander, if you do not cut bunkering by 50% in 6 months, I'll dismiss you. And we'll keep markers. I'm watching you every month. But when everybody is settled, Oga is settled, Elekere is settled, what you have? So what you have is an example of an endemic. And when it is endemic, you cannot say A is free, B is free. Because A has the opportunity to change the system. A's opportunity is to change the system. Okay? So you cannot deny that you want a good country and you are hamstrung. Why? When you have all the forces for coercion, forces to implement, forces to enforce, why are you not enforcing? Who are you going to blame? Is it external aggressors or internal aggressors? Is it the European? Is it the colonial masters? We always blame colonial masters for everything. To prevent our oil being stolen, we blame colonial masters. What did we set up the army, the navy, the marine police? What did we set them up? All of them are joining in the bazaar. And that's why everybody is feeling good. You asked me a question earlier. Power. You were talking about my private sector.
Yeah.
Look, the power, Nigeria power, is easier to solve than even security. Sir, today, power, you have multiple sources of power. You have the hydrocarbon, thermal, you have renewables, wind, solar, or what have you, nuclear, coal-fired, gas-driven. What we're going to do is to decentralize. What they did, the privatization, was also steeped in corruption. Go and see the owners of the privatized companies. Do you know the owners? You see the names of some generals, the names of some past heads of states who have no business with generating electricity. That's how we spoil things. We take things that other could do well and spoil it and give it a bad name. Privatization is a good thing, but it has to be done in a manner that is transparent. People were given the allocated, it was allocation. You take Yola, you take Adamawa, you take Lagos, you take Kano. The same way they shared local government, the same way they created local governments for some people. That's the country we have come. We cannot deny it. So, what am I going to do? I'm going to decentralize issues. You know, we have even tried it. Unfortunately, government started this time. They asked Geometric to go and set up a plant in Aba and ring-fence Aba and supply Aba 24/7. Geometric finished setting up his plant almost. Government changed policy. So what I'm going to do is put a Geometric in Aba, put 2 Geometrics in Lagos, I'm not saying the same company, bid. The people who come here, put up their plant, generate electricity and recover their costs. Bill people according to the cost, according to their cost. What government job will do is to mediate between the producer and the citizen to ensure that the citizen is not overcharged, and offer remedies or subsidies to reduce the impact, or agree with the investor a longer term of recovery. So we're going to do that for power. So when we do for power, you take out Abuja from national grid. You know, when Abuja started, it started on that. It had a separate grid. It was generating its own power here. But when you now put everyone into national grid and you are distributing around the country, inefficiencies, breakages, stealing, messes up everything. So when we now have these places, these big centers that can pay commercial or economic rate for power or for any other infrastructure, then you can use the power generating from Kainji down from Afan and then supply to areas that cannot pay, where government will need subsidy. You get my point? So if people in Lagos, and the estate I live now, are paying higher rate, and we're getting light more regularly, just the same way. The same power that is not available elsewhere is in my estate, almost 24/7, because we're paying higher rate. We're able to pay the economic rate. But when you force people who are doing business to sell below their cost, the business will fail. They will not supply anybody. So regulating, the regulation you do is protect the. If your cost of production is 10 naira, I ask you what margin can you go with? It's okay, I agree 20% margin. So you say 12. I'll be sure that you are charging 12, because if you leave here as private person, you can charge 15 or 20 because you want to maximize profit. That's where government will come. So when I take away, light will be available 24/7. Everywhere will have light. The villages will have light. They will have the NEPA light. The others will have geometric light. All is light, and they have energy. So we will do in infrastructure. Some roads will be built by government, others will be by private sector. Those that can be tolled. All over the country, all over the world is there. You have the tollway. If you want to move fast, you go into the toll. If you want to stop at Rigma Road, you go through the normal distance. So you make your choice. That way, you cannot say people are forcing you to use a bad road. There's a good road. Go and pay for it and pass. The common man who can pay can manage the other one. When he gets to where he's going, he has gotten there. But it meets the minimum standard. But it's not like Autobahn. Are you getting me?
Yeah.
So that's the way we were going to do to solve Nigeria's infrastructure deficit. It is by involving private sector, not the type of privatization they did by allocating resources in the hands of the owners of Nigeria.
All right, that's fair. I think we've got your clear vision now.
Yeah.
So let's move over to a little bit of party politics now.
Yeah.
I'm going to lump some issues together and your thoughts on zoning and the fact that your party has not categorically said we have zoned to the south. Do you think that is it sends a bad message? And also, the meeting you had with your fellow contestants or aspirants from the southeast region, you know, what really was that about? And finally, on the consensus we've been hearing about, what are your thoughts on the fact that some persons emerged in a consensus?
First is that zoning. The issue is that the party has a zoning policy, which is in their books. So our wish and desire is that they should continue that way. That's my wish, that's my prayer. Not just because I'm from Southeast, but because the right thing should be done. When the Southwest felt cheated, we all supported the Southwest. The Southeast people. When the North was supported, South we support them. Southeast have voted PDP. They voted for Yaradua. They voted for Jonathan. They voted for Basanjo. So why would it be time we're thinking the Southwest we are changing the game? So that's my truth. However, I've always said that the party is supreme. The party has the right to change its policy. Okay? Human policies can change. However, let this party be aware that every action has an equal and opposite reaction. So the party must be prepared to live with that equal and opposite reaction. That's all. As long as the party has said, well, looked at the pros and cons. Yes, we ought to do this, but we prefer to do this. We are ready to face the consequences. We are ready to live the consequences. Me, I have no issue because I know there will be consequences. Then on my meeting with my guys, the whole idea is to get us speak with one voice. First, in demanding that Ish should rotate to the south and microzone to the south. We want to speak together because sometimes you are not hearing voices of all of us, and we don't want discordant. Let's speak together. Number two, let's build what I call the team concept. The team concept is that all of us are members of a team, and so what we're looking for is a team lead. And therefore, if we're looking for a team lead, it means that the other members of the team are already in the team, so they have a role. So it doesn't matter who the team lead is. That way, it reduces extraordinary competition. It reduces anti-party activity. When you say, I didn't get it, so I run away, I form another party. It reduces, if you are assured opportunity to impact, because I have a vision for coming to run the presidency. You can't tell me that's going to consensus. You can't tell me it's consents to who. Except people are willing to consensus to me, then I'm ready to take it. But I have a motivation. Some other people have other motivations. So let's work together. One man will be the team lead. And if other members of the team lead have opportunity to know that they belong to the team, maybe they can take it a little bit easier, because it's not about us, it's about solving the problem. If I can find out the problem I want to solve, you solve it better. Why would I insist it is me? No, I just want to be sure that you can solve the problem better than I. That's also talking about the consensus. Consensus is a difficult thing, but it's doable. And the way it is doable is to set some parameter. What parameter are you going to use to do consensus? If that parameter is based on this thing I talked about, first is that we're team members. Okay? So if I become president, I will give you a role that will enable you, that thing that is hot in your mind, that thing God is telling you want to do, you can do it, or help the government to do it. I give you account. Then when we're now talking about concern, it's easy for us to say, okay, you be the team leader. Let the rest of us work with you. That's what I'm preaching, because I'm a Christian and I call myself a political missionary, and I want to build a different type of political culture. Not this, we must kill and to get office. Why? If it is service, then you can't kill for service. You say honor to serve, but it's a sacrifice.
All right, thank you very much for that. Now, just to round things up, finally, what is your message to Nigerians, your followers out there, and people you want to bring onto your team? What word do you have to give them in these times where you are not in power yet and they still have to be under this government? What do you have to say?
What I'm asking Nigerians who are listening to me, they should have hope. Their prayers are heard. I believe in my mind that all the prayers of the innocent, the prayers of the suffering people of Nigeria, the blood of the innocent that have been shed, they've been crying to God. God has heard these prayers. In 2023, He's sending us help. God is sending us help. So let's be hopeful and make sure that all of us who are offering to serve you, please check us out. Check our background. Check our motivation. Understand why we want to come and serve. Are we coming to serve you? Are we coming to serve ourselves? Are we looking for power, for self-aggrandizement? Are we looking for money? Are we looking for relevance? I have a vision. My vision is to move Nigeria from its many years and decades of decadence, political quagmire, economic stagnation, social disequilibrium, to an ordered nation that is productive, globally competitive, that can be a first world nation, and a country we all Nigerians can call our own. One, because the country is meeting our basic needs as citizens. Two, the country is playing its role in international affairs, standing its ground, bringing out its best, and being a major contributor to global wealth In that way, we shall get respectability and we shall get peace at home. That's the Nigeria we're looking for in 2023. And you'll be part of it by making sure you get your voter's card, by making sure you are willing to vote, and you do not vote because you are persuaded by money, by rice, by gari, or by stockfish. Vote your conscience, and God will bless you.
Thank you very much, Mazi Sam, for coming on the show.
Thank you. My pleasure.
Thank you very much.